and welcome to another episode of ECCB Connects. This is a production of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank designed to share with you who we are, what we do, and how we serve you. What if the biggest barrier between your business and a loan isn't your business at all? What if it's the system? Last week, we broke down how new laws and a modern collateral registry could change the rules of lending in the Eastern Caribbean, especially for small and medium-sized businesses. This week, we continue the discussion as we sit down with the ECCB's lead on this initiative to talk about why this reform is critical and who stands to benefit. We'll learn more after the break.
ECCB Connects now has a WhatsApp channel. Follow us and stay in the loop with our latest videos, photos, and updates. It's simple. Just search for ECCB Connects in your WhatsApp Updates tab and get connected with all things ECCB.
Thanks for staying connected with us. On our last program, we explored the technical side of the Secured Transactions and Collateral Registry framework with one of the consultants leading the work across the region. But technical solutions are only one part of the story. Let's turn to the policy vision behind this reform. Senior Project Officer and the ECCB's lead on this initiative, Vanessa Pennyfeather, joins us for this discussion. We'll look at why this reform matters now and how it fits into the ECCB's broader goals for inclusive growth. Vanessa, welcome to ECCB Connects.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Now, a secured transactions and collateral registry framework for the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. Why does the ECCB think that this reform is critical at this time?
It's critical because despite the large number of financial institutions, and when I say financial institutions, it's broadly commercial banks, credit unions, and micro-lending, we have a plethora of those throughout the region. However, the access to financing for SMEs and MSMEs is very difficult. It's challenging, simply because the type of collateral being demanded by the lenders is outside the scope for many SMEs. And the relative cost of borrowing, even when the loan is secured, also presents a challenge for them. So it's difficult for growth, economic development at the lower level. When I say lower level, I mean SMEs and entrepreneurs to access credit. And so it's timely in terms of how the world is going now. We have to be more self-reliant. And so it's important that SMEs have that access to financing at a relatively inexpensive cost.
And how does this fit into the bigger picture of the ECCB to make sure that the financial system works for everyone and not just a few?
So from the ECCB standpoint, we have four main goals that we're looking at in terms of economic development. We're looking at access to credit, and we want to increase that. We also want to increase the participants that can access that credit. We also want to decrease the cost of credit, and we want to make sure that the lenders are protected in terms of the credit risk. So those are the main four goals that we're looking at as it relates to why we're doing this now and why it's important.
And Vanessa, the question on everybody's mind when they hear something new is coming, and especially from the ECCB, like, how will this affect my pocket?
It gives SMEs and entrepreneurs an opportunity to tap into that market. It's twofold. From the SMEs and the entrepreneurs' standpoint, it creates a wider opportunity for them to access financing, whether it is to grow their business, to start a business, whether it is to hire more employees. It's a golden opportunity. From the lender's perspective, it creates a simplified version of being able to check to see who has liens on movable assets. And when I say movable assets, I'm talking about inventory, equipment, receivables, livestock, and intellectual property rights and securities. So if I am a businessman, say for instance, I'm a fisherman, I can use my fishing boat or I can use my motor as collateral because it's movable. So in this regard, the reform refers to movable assets as collateral, right? And so if I'm a fisherman and I'm using my fishing boat or I'm using an engine to, whether it is to hire more fisher folk to assist me to buy a second boat, or whether to I have a contract with a hotel to provide like lobsters, shellfish, those kinds of things, I can use the receivables or the contract with that hotel as collateral to grow my business. So this is what the reform is all about. At the same time, the registry arm of it allows the lenders to be able to check, they're able to register the movable asset as collateral, and they're also able to check to see if other institutions have a lien against that particular collateral. So it's protection for them, and it's an opportunity for SMEs and entrepreneurs to access financing, to grow their business, for entrepreneurs to start businesses, because they don't always have the traditional immovable assets, which are property like land and house and automobiles. So it's an opportunity all around. And then the SMEs accessing those opportunities, the lender can increase the suite of offerings to the SME sector.
Now, I know that a number of consultations have been held in our ECCB member countries. How have those been going?
Okay, so between last week and this week, we've visited 4 countries. So last week we were in Antigua and Barbuda and Montserrat. This week we were in Anguilla and St. Kitts and Nevis. And so we've had 16 consultations with stakeholders. And these have been key stakeholders: Ministry of Finance, Inland Revenue Department, cooperatives, credit unions, commercial banks, the Intellectual Property Office. We have met with micro lenders and a various host of ministries that would be economic development, sustainable development, just to try to get just to inform them of the project and to get their initial reactions to how it would impact them and the challenges that they may see coming out of this project. The commercial banks were very receptive, of course, and the government institutions, in particular the finance, were there on board because they would have to have been pre-advised of this project. And so you may have some challenges in terms of enforcement, which those would have come up, the credit risk, how to evaluate the assets, because, you know, if I'm giving you 10 cattle as collateral for a loan, questions would be asked about how do I maintain that stock that I've used as collateral. And so the consultants would have advised them during the consultations of what is possible and what can be written into the security agreements that you would have to sign with your lender. The consultants would have also said to them how the registry will be searched, the privacy of it all, however they notice to the world that these assets are being used as collateral.
What are the next steps as it relates to this project?
So now we're in phase 1 of the project, and this is a project that has been a CDB assistance funding. So we have to make sure that we raise all 7 of the other remaining ECCU member territories. St. Lucia would have passed their act already in 2022, and they would have instituted their collateral registry in 2023, November. And so the idea is to onboard the remaining 7 countries of the ECCU onto the St. Lucia registry. It has been 18 months in operation, and the statistics coming out of it alone is a testament to how it's been working. And so where we are now is to advise the remaining 7 member territories about the project, get feedback from them, collect data, collect research documents, any laws that are outstanding. And what we've learned is a lot of laws are fragmented and old. And so this law is supposed to be harmonized, the entire system, so that it makes it easier for banks and credit unions and the SME to access the registry, to register information about the collateral and also to do searches. And so the next phase of that is to just have some virtual meetings with those persons we would have met in person, share the documents, the draft policy document, the draft legislative framework, so that we can get some feedback. And then we, hopefully in October, we'll do another round of in-person where we will have gathered feedback from the initial document so that we can finalize, and then we'll do some town hall type with broader stakeholders. So these first stakeholder engagements were with key stakeholders, but we'll do more broad-based in October, later down this year, so that we can kind of tighten up the documents, finalize them, and so that they can go to their parliaments for passing, and that we can onboard the remaining 7 of the ECCU member territories onto the St. Lucia Registry.
Vanessa, it sounds like a lot of work, but it is important work.
It's important work.
Yes, and we wish you all the best and the rest of the team. And of course, we look forward to the updates as the project unfolds.
We'll keep you abreast.
Thank you very much for chatting with us on ECCB Connects.
Thank you.
And now for this week's financial tip.
Retirement comes quickly. Start saving now and investing now to prepare for it.
We've come to the end of this week's episode of ECCB Connects. Over the past 2 programs, we've looked at both the technical foundation and the policy vision behind the secured transactions and collateral registry reform. Together, they point to one clear goal: making it easier, safer, and more affordable for businesses to access credit using the assets they already have. We will continue to follow this project and provide updates as it moves from policy to practice. Do join us again next week when we will be back with another episode of ECCB Connects as we continue to share with you who we are, what we do, and how we serve you.